me, Kelly. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we are going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of January. For the first month of 2026, I felt as though the month went on and on and on forever. It was a very long and exhausting month and start to the year. But it also, I feel like it went really fast too, because we're already in February and it's already like almost halfway through February. I feel like we're just speeding through. January took its time, February speeding through, probably because it's the shortest month of the year, but I don't know. But we got some books done, which is good, but we didn't get all the books done, so that is not good, which is a-okay. I did put a lot of books on my January TBR, and it was kind of nice to have a wide variety of books to choose from, so I do appreciate that. I read a total of 5 books, and each book was a different genre. We have mystery, fantasy, fiction, YA, and sci-fi out of the 5, so literally all kinds of different genres in January I was reading, which probably was really nice to have all of those on my TBR because I could mood read and see what I would like to read instead of it all being one genre. The highest rated book was a 4.5. The lowest was a 3.5. So no 5 stars in the first month, but that is a-okay. Let's go ahead and get into the books. The first book I finished in January was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I rated this a 3.75. This is a sci-fi book about Darrow, who is a red, who is like the lower class of this group of people that live on Mars. So reds are the lowest class. He's a miner, so he mines and extracts precious elements day by day to build the world on Mars, or to build a society on Mars so humans can live on it. Then he finds out that all of it's been a lie and it has been habitable. That's the word. People from Earth have already moved to Mars and live on Mars. So he kind of gets mad of like, oh, I've been lied to my whole life. I thought I was building this society for these people, but they've been here for years and years and years, and I've been slaving away basically. He then gets taken in by this mysterious group. He undergoes some disguise to disguise himself as a gold, which is like a higher ranking in the tiers of the society. He's like a higher ranking individual, or a high class societal member. Oh my gosh. So he goes to this command school where he's going to learn about all the secrets of what these higher-ups are thinking and what are they doing and all of that. So this is like my first big sci-fi. I mean, I've read YA sci-fi, I've read Cinder, but this is like an adult sci-fi book. And for it to be a 3.75, I did enjoy it. I think I will continue the series. I will say our main character did irritate me a lot throughout the story. He was not one of my favorite main characters to follow, and I think a lot of the book was to build the world that the series is going to take place in. So I definitely am probably going to continue this series. I do think it was very fast-paced and action-packed, so if you enjoy those aspects of a sci-fi or book in general, I think you might enjoy this. And I really had high hopes for this book, so I definitely am going to continue the series to see if it gets better, and maybe our main character isn't so irritable. I did overall enjoy it. I will continue the series at some point, maybe, I don't know. And again, I rated this a 3.75, so almost a 4-star, and I do recommend this book. The next book I finished in January was The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. This is book 1 in the Raven cycle. It's a YA paranormal adventure, fantasy, mystery, even a little bit in there. This is about kind of like two points of views, basically. We have Blue, who is, I wouldn't say a psychic, but her mother is a psychic. And she is a, what's the word? She like heightens the psychic abilities. That's what Blue is. Kind of her thing. She can't see dead people or see futures or see anything like that, but she like heightens their skills. But at one point she does see a boy that talks to her who is like a spirit, and his name is Gansey, and he looks like this boy who goes to the nearby boarding school for rich students, my goodness, called Aglenby. Some, I don't know, I think of it as a British, you know, they're all in like uniforms and all that. But she sees him as a spirit, but then she soon realizes that he's not dead, and like she meets all these little boys, because Gansey has this little boy group, or a friend trio group, and they're basically trying to figure out this mystery of this dead king. Super interesting book, okay? That took a lot to explain this book, but all you gotta know is there's Blue, who's the girl, there's Gansey, and 3 other boys in the group, and they're all just kind of trying to figure out this mystery of this dead king. But Blue also is trying to figure out why Gansey was in her vision, or in this like spirit world thing. So she's trying to figure out stuff, they're trying to figure out stuff. It's kind of fun. Literally, I was having such a great time reading this, because it was not what I expected. Like, I don't know what I was expecting coming into this, but we had some romance in here, we had lots of ghosts, we had some mystery, we had some thriller aspects in there towards the end. It was getting wild. So this was probably like, is this my highest rated? No. This is not my highest rated, but I really enjoyed reading this, and I definitely want to continue the series. I thought it was a fun time. It was a page turner. I just wanted to keep reading to like follow this mystery that was going on, as well as like getting to know the characters, because they definitely have some different personalities. Like, is it Adam? Adam is like the scholarship student who resents the privilege. Ronan, the fierce soul whose emotions range from anger to despair. And Noah, the taciturn watcher who notices many things but says very little. Like, they're all fun to get to know and follow, and like, I think that's the best part of this book, is like the different characters. And I really enjoyed Gansey, not because he was like the main male character, but I also really enjoyed Adam too in the story. So there was a lot going on in this book, and I highly recommend it. I'm gonna continue the series. It was a fun time to read, and I can't wait to see what happens throughout the series, like what is gonna happen next. The next book I read in January was If Cats Disappeared from the World by Genki Karamura. Do this every time I try to say his name, because I think I got it, but then I don't. So that's that. But I read this, and I did a little vlog of me reading it and talking a lot more about it, so I'm not going to say very much in this video. It was like a vlog where I literally was like, I'm gonna finish this whole book, and then I did. And I rated this 4.5. This was my highest rated book. It is a very short book. It is on less than 200 pages. It's 160 something pages, and it is a story about one man's journey to discover what really matters most in his life, or in life in general, because I feel like a lot of people can connect to our main character here. He is a postman. He finds out that he has a terminal illness, that he is going to die very, very soon. So he creates a bucket list, and soon I shouldn't even say a being shows up at his door to tell him, actually, you're going to die tomorrow. So he has to plan what he's gonna do, and he has to make deals with this being to get rid of one thing in the world, or make one thing disappear from the world. This was a very emotional book. I enjoyed it. I recommend it. It's also a movie, but it is a international book. It was translated, so the movie is in, I believe, Japanese. I could be wrong, but again, I feel like I should watch it because I love this book so much. Yeah, it was very emotional. It has some like comedic relief to it with our being that shows up, and then of course the cat, which is kind of I wouldn't say a big part of the story, but it has to do a lot with the main characters. So highly recommend. This was the highest rated book of the month. I enjoyed it, and I want to read more books like this, or just like international books, I don't know, or just like little fiction books like this. I feel like I'd really enjoy. So that was If Cats Disappeared from the World. This was so good. The next book I read was A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is book number 2 in the ACOTAR series, and I unfortunately do not have it because I returned it to my friend because I was borrowing it for literally a whole year, and then I finally read it and returned it to her, and now I'm waiting for her to give me Wings and Ruins, which I told her she doesn't have to. I literally could probably audiobook that. But anyways, we read the second book finally after a year of reading ACOTAR, and I will confidently say this book was a lot better than the first book. I did enjoy this one a lot more, just because the first book, there's some things I just didn't like, and was like, I could totally tell this is like the first book of a series, and it's just like, it's gotta get better, which it 100% did. I did rate this a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed our character development with Farah, because the first book I felt like she was very, what's the word? I don't want to say, it's like the opposite. She was just very insecure and like, not quaint. I'm trying to think of the word, where she just like wasn't confident in herself. I feel very like insecure and not confident, and like not willing to put in the efforts of who she is. And then the second book, she like kind of found out who she was, and let me just be straight with you, she found out that she was badass. That's all I can say. She is on some queen shit, okay? And I loved that character development, because I love when women find out like, hey, you know, I have worth and I'm actually a badass. So that was kind of fun. I don't want to say too much because this is the second book and I don't want to spoil, even though I'm probably the last person who's read this series on Earth. I don't know. But I really enjoyed our male main character in this book. All I can say is I would like more wings. That's all I'm gonna say there. So definitely am enjoying. I really want to read the next one because the end of this book's kind of leaves on a cliffhanger. It's, the plot needs to continue, okay? Because I want to know what happens now, because we need to know what's going on with Farah. We need to know. So I am super excited to start the next book. And then now that I've read it, I feel more motivated to finish the series. And I definitely should listen to my friend like a year ago when she's like, no, you're gonna love the second, you're gonna get hooked. She was right. I should just trust her and listen to her. So that was the fourth book I read this month. Alright, the fifth book I actually finished early February, but I wanted to include it because it was on my January TBR. I started it in January. It just took me a little bit longer to read because life was a little hectic and I didn't have a lot of time to read at home. And anyways, the last book that I read this month was The Tenant by Freida McFadden. This is about Blake Porter, who is the VP of marketing in this really big job, whatever, businessman. He has a fiance, but then something happens where he abruptly gets fired from his job, and he's got to make ends meet by getting a tenant, and that's when Whitney comes in, and she's really nice. She seems pretty normal compared to all the other people they have interviewed and had come look at their place, and so they rent to her. But then things start going a little south. There's some strange noises, some weird smells, lots of stuff going on. So like a typical Freida McFadden fashion, shit hits the fan, basically. Things happen, okay? And Freida McFadden's books are super fast paced. They're just like, you don't want to put them down type books. You want to just keep reading until you figure out what is the twist. And I will say, this twist wasn't that massive compared to the other books I've read by her, but it was enjoyable. So I did rate this a 3.5. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Some of the stuff literally made me gag because of like how gross it was, and I'm like, ew, like imagining it. So I definitely applaud her for that. Yeah, but by the end I was kind of like, okay, whatever. It didn't really creep me out, or I wasn't like shocked about the plot twist type deal like some of her other books. So that's The Tenant. That was a 3.5. That's how I ended off. I mean, I finished it early February, but we're including it into the January wrap up, okay? So those are the 5 books that I read in the month of January. I did want to show the books that I did not get to that were on my TBR, so that you can see what books I maybe should read, or that could be put onto a later month's TBR. Unfortunately, I did not get to One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was in competition with A Court of Mist and Fury. I kind of was like on the edge of both of them, and then I finally picked up the other one. So hopefully in near futures this will come up. I don't think I'll ever get to this, but I want to. Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. I do really want to read it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the size of the book, because like this is a standard romance paperback and this one's like huge. I don't know why, but didn't get to this either. I did not get to Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Again, at some point I would love to read this, just because I tried reading this in high school. I remember checking it out in the library, but I never read it. Like I just remember checking it out but never reading it. So I need to now that I own it. And I believe, I don't know if it's this book. I think it is this book that's a banned book. Or it's just one of her books, if it's not this one. But I'd love to read this at some point. And the last book that I did not get to is Mirror Mirror by Gregory Maguire. Again, this is like that weird size book. And I just wasn't feeling like the retelling fantasy vibes this month. I wanted fae fantasy, I guess. So, or paranormal, if you're thinking about that way. Alright, so that is all the books that I read in the month of January, as well as the books that I did not get to. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and also make sure you subscribe. I post videos once a week, whether it's bookish content like this, lifestyle vlogs, kind of whatever I'm in the mood for. So if you like what you are seeing, you should go ahead and subscribe. That's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye!